Hey guys, I just got back from watching The Strangers Chapter 2, which is Chapter 2 to the new, like, reboot slash remake trilogy, which is not related to the first two, I guess. I don't know. It's very unclear, actually. Yeah, okay. So if you remember watching my review of Chapter 1 of this, I hated that movie so much because of how many stupid decisions the characters were making. And some of that does continue to over here, but this one suffers a lot more from narrative decisions that were made, which are just, I don't know, it's so stupid, it's so idiotic, it's so basic and cliche that it feels like whoever wrote this or made this, or however many people did, it's like they've never watched any other horror movie before. It's like they only just now discovered horror movies, and they are like, oh, this is okay, so we got to have a moment like this, okay, so this has to happen now, okay, like, and they just, anything that you think is about to happen in this movie, it almost immediately happens. Okay, she almost gets help at one point, and some guy is slowly walking to the other side of the car to get in the driver's seat, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's gonna get killed right before he gets in the car, and she's gonna have to run away again, and literally half a second later, dead, boom, he's in. I'm like, yeah, okay, so that, what I'm saying here, this is a very dumb movie. This is a very stupid cliche slasher, and their attempts at building lore are kind of astounding, because it's like they're trying to have a payoff and an explanation without any proper setup or reason why you should care, to the point where it's like, then don't bother. They're like, what? It's baffling, some of the things that happen here. So let's just start at the beginning, I guess. This whole movie is basically just one extended chase sequence, because you might think that, okay, so she survived the last movie, and they're gonna have, she's gonna go back home and she's gonna have to deal with what happened, but then she starts getting chased again, and you think maybe it's gonna be broken up a little bit, but no, like, she's in the hospital, and then she has to start running away from these killers immediately, and the movie just doesn't stop. Like, she has to run here, and then she runs there, and then she runs here, and then she runs into these people, and then she runs into that person, and then it's constant. And that's what the movie is, which is not horrible. Like, that's not like the worst thing in the world. Like, I can see how that could be interesting, just one long chase sequence as a movie, and there's pretty much no resting there, right? So okay, that's fine. This movie right away tells you who one of the killers is. Like, it opens up, and I'm gonna spoil it, so here we go, because the movie spoils it for you right away, if it wasn't obvious. So right away, the movie opens up, and it tells you that I think they call her Dollface, the killer, I think, or maybe it's the pinup girl, I don't know. One of the girls is the waitress from the diner from the first movie, and they show you this right away, so the whole movie, this in the back of your mind, and you're thinking, okay, so me as an audience member having that information is going to be significant in some way, right? Like, the main character is going to know this and realize this and somehow use that to her advantage, right? Like, maybe catch the killer while she's at work pretending to be normal, or something is going to happen. No, it's just, we find out who the killer is, and it's of no actual consequence to the story that's happening, because she's just getting chased by these people that she doesn't know. And by the end of the movie, they even do like a dramatic face reveal, because the pinup girl ends up getting killed. Like, she actually manages to take one of them out. And they do like this dramatic mask off reveal. It's the Scarecrow guy, I guess that's what his name is, the Scarecrow. He takes off her mask, and he's really sad, because I guess he loved her, and he's like, no, I mean, you don't hear him talk, but and they reveal that it's the waitress, and they treat it like a big reveal. They play music and it's all dramatic, but I'm like, but you told us this at the beginning of the movie, so I don't understand who this is for. And they even have the main character like hiding, and she sees all this, but again, the main character only has met this waitress one time, and they talked for, you know, the 40 seconds it took to take their order at the diner in the first movie. So I don't understand the point of this reveal. Like, it was the waitress. And not only that, but the movie at various points cuts to this sometime in the past, this girl who liked a boy, and they're at some kind of school, and then she gets jealous of this other girl, and she ends up playing this knocking game where, like, you knock on this door and you ask, is Tamara there? Is someone there? And then they open the door, and I guess that's the game, right? And that kind of is the explanation for why they knock on the door and ask if Tamara's there. That's why the strangers do that. It's because she did this as a childhood game, I guess. And she ends up killing this other little girl, right? Like, so basically what we're told is that when the waitress was a little girl, she was already crazy and she's already killing people. And that's it. Like, that's we don't get any actual character of the waitress. Like the waitress in this movie, when you see her as a waitress, she maybe says 2 words. She doesn't have any full conversations with anybody. She doesn't have any relationships with any of the other characters that we've met. And so it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, like, what's the point of this reveal? The main character doesn't know her, and we, the audience, don't know her. You told us who it is, but we never got to hang out with this character or care or be surprised that it's her. Like, it's just a nothing reveal. And that's like the crux of this movie, is this nothing of a reveal. You know? And along the way, our main character has met even more very suspicious people around town. Basically, we're at this point between the first movie and this movie where everyone in town is very suspicious. Like, everyone seems to be in on what's going on. They all seem to know about the killers. You know, if they're not, like, explicitly helping them, you know, by covering stuff up, like the sheriff finds a piece of evidence and he just covers it up. So you're like, okay, the sheriff knows something. At the very least, they have information that they're not saying. There's this drunk guy that she runs into, and he's like super shady, and he has the smiley face tattoo, which is supposed to be like the symbol of the strangers, I guess, right? And so you as an audience member, you're like, well, they're painting it on pretty thick that this guy is probably the Scarecrow, like the actual main killer. And party's like, okay, so it has to be a red herring. But I'm also like, this movie is so direct and on the nose and not subtle in any way. I'm doubting that, you know, I don't want to give them that much credit that they would even be able to, like, do the most basic of red herrings, like the most obvious of red herrings. I'm like, no, it's just gonna turn out to be him. Like, he's acting really suspicious, and he's got the tattoo, and they never reveal who the Scarecrow is, but I'm like, it's just gonna be him. And another reason why I probably know that is because they haven't they haven't introduced us to any other characters that it really could be, or it would be surprising at all that it is, right? There's the sheriff, but he seems too old. There's the younger cop, but he seems to legitimately be trying to solve this, so it's probably not him, because that wouldn't make any sense. So it's got to be this guy, because he's the only other character that we have left who it could be. And he's so blatantly obvious that he's like, oh, they give him the tattoo, and he seems to know a lot about the killings, and he seems to, like, he's asking her weird questions like, what did it feel like when you got stabbed? What were you thinking about? Like, weird stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, so it's like any other slasher movie. Like, if this was Scream, I'd be like, okay, so it's definitely not him. Like, that's clearly the red herring character that they always have. But in this one, I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be him, because they're too lazy to do a red herring, I think. I don't know. Something else that this movie and the last one have been doing they're setting up some kind of church organization cult type thing, right? They're very slowly trying to set it up. The first movie had two little kids giving away pamphlets to whatever this church was, and then this one has the guy with the tattoo saying like, oh yeah, I got this smiley face tattoo at the local church when I was a teenager. And you keep hearing like some pastor over the radio, like whenever anyone's in a car in this movie, it's always like the same like pastor ranting about something, so you're like, okay, so they're setting up whatever this church organization is, and I have to assume that that's going to be like the main plot of the third movie, is this whole church thing. But again, they've done such a poor job of giving you any reason to care, that it's like, if the revelation is that like, oh, the whole town is in on it because they all go to this church, and that's it, surprise. I'm like, okay, but why do I care? Why should the main character care? This movie's very frustrating. It's just extraordinarily frustrating. Like I keep comparing it to Scream because it feels like the most obvious comparison to make, because you have a masked slasher and you're trying to discover their identity. The thing is, in the Scream movies, you spend time with those characters, even the new characters, and you're like, I'm pretty sure it's that guy. Usually Scream still finds a way to try and surprise you while also still kind of making sense, like, okay, yeah, we have several new characters and at least one of them has to be the killer, but we're gonna kind of take you for a bunch of twists and turns, and you'll doubt yourself several times before we do the actual big reveal, so that way it actually has an impact. But this one just, I don't know, either they just got too lazy or they didn't know how to do that. So I don't get it. I don't understand this. Okay, The Strangers, the original movie, started off as just like a kind of a hypothetical, right? Like just this idea of, oh hey, you could be anywhere, you could be anyone, right? Like it doesn't matter where you're at, random violence could come upon you. Isn't that terrifying? Because it's random, because they could choose anyone for any reason. You have no way of knowing who they are. They could be your next door neighbor, they could be your waitress, they could be your car mechanic, you don't know. Like, and that's supposed to be the scary concept of it. But if you're going to start doing reveals, you have to give us a reason to care about the reveals. Otherwise it's just slasher stuff happening. And the thing is this is just very generic vanilla slasher stuff. Like, I don't know, guys. This was so disappointing. and I guess not disappointing. Let me just say it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So I can't say it's disappointing. It's just bad. It's just really bad. Because it's not even like it's not even good as in a, oh, let's sit here and make fun of it kind of way. It's more just like a, my god, this got a theatrical release? I'm so surprised. Given the reception of the first movie, I'm really surprised they bothered to release this in theaters. It didn't just go to streaming immediately. And I'll be even more surprised if the third movie does go to theaters now, because like, I know this one's getting even worse reviews, I think. I don't understand how this happened. The Strangers, at least for a time, like in the mid 2000s, or maybe late 2000s, was, it was like a thing that people really liked. The iconography, the masks, the idea of it, the concept, right? Like, people were really digging this, and it had the potential to be a thing. Now a lot of time passed and they made a sequel that everyone kind of forgot about, so it's kind of too late to do that, I guess, right? But still, you're here with this IP and you have a concept and you're like, oh, this time we're actually going to give them a backstory. We're going to give them a hometown that they're from. We're going to give them some lore. We're going to like have like intricate things happening. This suspicious town where everyone seems to be in on it, but anyone could be the killer and you don't know. See, that seems great on paper. Like, it seems like it could be interesting, but I guess that's my thing, is like, if you don't have a reason to care, and you don't have, and the main character, even the character inside the story, doesn't have a reason to care, then why the fuck are we doing this? Like, my god, it's just, you know, it's also one of those things where like everyone is acting so suspicious that once it turns out to not be them, like for example, there's a couple of girls in here that our main character meets, and they are acting really shady and really weird, especially because they just met someone who they know has had probably the most traumatic 48 hours of their life, and they're acting really weird and chipper, and like, oh, you're like, oh, okay, so either these are the killers or this is just another like nothing, right? And they end up getting killed, and so you're like, okay, so they weren't the killers. Why were they acting so weird then? And I think that's another kind of slasher cliche. It's like, you're only acting strange because there's an audience watching you who needs to be distracted, you know, diverted from whatever the truth is, I guess. But there's no explanation for why you're acting that way in this story, and I hate that. I despise that. That's probably one of the stupidest cliches that slasher movies have, where it's like, then why were you so damn suspicious? What was causing you to act that way if you're not the killer? So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I know that the second one and third one were already being filmed and they kind of have to release them somewhere, but to get a theatrical run, I'm kind of impressed that somehow you managed to get that, but you're definitely not making any money off of this, so I don't know what's happening here. But yeah, that's The Strangers Chapter 2. It's more fun to talk about than it is to watch. It's not even like bad, funny kind of watch. It's just like, I just gotta talk about how messy this is, because I can't believe that this is still a thing. How did this happen? So anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later.